Alright, so I just kind of finished this one. 2 squared is 4, 6 squared is 36. Add them together, you get 40. Then you need to find the square root of both sides, and you get 6.3 is equal to C. Okay, so our next part is we need to use the distance formula. So remember, the distance is equal to the square root of, we're going to find x's, subtract them, y's, subtract them, we're going to square it and then add those two together, and then the final thing is we will excuse me, we will find the square root of both sides. So here, remember, x, y, so we're going to do 1/2 minus the 5, and then the 4 1/4 minus the negative 1/2. Square it. Don't forget your square root symbol. So we should be able to see that 1/2 minus 5 should get me a negative 4/2. But again, I'm going to show it here. So 1/2 minus 5 gets me negative 4 1/2. And I'm going to take my answer and I'm going to square it because that's what I will end up doing. And so this would be negative 4 1/2 squared, because I still have my squared, and that gets me 20 1/4. Okay, then I want to do 4 1/4, and I need to subtract, and this button down here is my negative, so negative 1, oh man, oops, wrong button, so I have to start over. 4 1/4 minus a negative 1/2. So again, this should be end up adding, right? And 1/4 plus 1/2 should get me 4 3/4. But if you know that, you should start working with the calculator to make sure you can put it in there, and so you get that 4 3/4. Then I want to take my answer and I want to square it. So I get 22 9/16. Now I want to add, I want to take that answer and I'm going to add that 20 1/4, and it gets me 42 13/16. And then I need to find the square root of that, because remember, square root everything. So I'm going to put 42 13/16. Okay, and my answer is 6.54, so 6.5. Okay, this one, d is equal to, so we're again 5.4 is my x, so 5.4 minus 4, negative 3.2 minus a negative 1.2. So if I want to do this on a calculator, 5.4 minus 4, so 1.4. Remember, this little guy right here is the negative, so negative 3.2, and then minus a negative 1.2. So I get a negative 2 squared. So I need to find negative 2 times negative 2, which is 4. 1.4 times 1.4. I can do it that way, or I can do 1.4 and push that squared button. It'll get me the same thing. Okay, I need to add my answer to 4, or these two numbers, 5.96, and then I need to find my square root of 5.96. So this gets me 2.4, rounding to the nearest 10th. Okay, now I want you to put on the top right of this page, of your back page, I want you to put the date. April 1st. Put a box around it. Go up and make sure your answers are all boxed in red pen. If you already have them in a different color pen, you can go around it. Or in a pencil. Okay, so our last one, we have, remember, square roots, 5 1/5, subtract a -1, 2, subtract 2 1/5. Squared, take my calculator, do 5 1/5, I'm going to subtract a -1. So I should be getting adding, right? Yes. So this becomes addition. So we do 6 1/5. Okay, I'm going to square that answer right away. This is just easier for me. 38 11/25. Okay, then I'm going to go over here. 2 minus 2 1/5. So I should get a -1/5 squared. So I want to square my answer. I should get 1/25. Okay, now I need to add my two together. So I'm going to add my answer of 1/25 to 38 11/25, and I should get, oh yeah, they have this. Yeah. I could have probably done that without a calculator because they have common denominators, and I'm just adding the 11 plus the 1, so 38. And now I need to find the square root. So a lot of the times I forget my square root symbol. But main thing is you need to do the math inside here, then you square it, do math in here, square it, then you add them together, then you find the square root. Last thing is finding the square root. So I'm going to do 38, 12, 25, and that gives me 6.2. Because I have a 0, I'm done. Don't forget to box your answer in, and make sure all your things are on there that I asked or I said during the movie.